Unfortunately, the ambassador couldn't be here today and yesterday. We've obviously been in close contact with him over the last couple of weeks, and in fact over the last couple of months as we've liaised with Terry on the preparations. It just so happened that he last week he was in hospital and he's only recovering from that. So it's extremely unfortunate, and I know that he's very upset that he can't be here, and certainly based on what we've seen and the event of the day, he would be particularly disappointed that he missed it.
Now, you yourself have been a tremendous supporter of this project here in the country.
Well, I think I mean, we've a number of aspects of this. I mean, we've the Ice House here in town. It's a successful business, and we're very proud to have the Ice House, and the people of Ballina are very proud. And we try and make as much of a community effort and commitment as we can, and that we do. And obviously, this project, given the background of me having family in Australia, a strong connection with Australia, being familiar with the history, and really through Terry, the particular history of these orphan girls, was particularly taken with the project and with what Terry was looking to do, and has absolutely succeeded in putting together just a wonderful show. So from that point of view, we're absolutely thrilled, delighted to have been involved in it. The girls came from all over the country, in fact, and Terry had, I think, the number of 187 that came from Mayo. And I've been to the Hyde Park Museum in Sydney, and I've seen the layout of what they arrived to when they arrived in Sydney, and it's a remarkable experience. And anyone who pays a trip to Australia, to Sydney, who has an interest in this, should most definitely visit the Hyde Park Museum. It is, in many respects, in its own understated way, a wonder to behold. With Terry's particular project here, with the initiative that he has taken, I think that will begin. I think obviously the girls and their song, that is a magnificent rendition of Brendan's song, and I think it's on YouTube, and I think those type of elements will help in spreading the word about what it was about. And I think Irish people, diaspora, have an interest, but it's a vague interest, and I think we need to interest them by different methodologies, like the songs, like the events, like the commemorations, like the statues, like that great kind of statue and memorial in Hyde Park Place to the Great Famine. They're the type of things that have to happen. And as the ambassador said in his word, that Ireland and Australia are very connected, and Australia owes a lot to Ireland and the people that came from Ireland as it built its great nation.
Jane, how did this quilt come about?
I suppose the story all starts really, I work up in the Ballina Costume Company where we make and design costumes. So Terry came up to us to ask us about donating costumes for his event today. So he was telling us about the 138 girls. It was the first time we heard the story about it. So we asked him, he told us about the monument, and we asked him were all the girls' names on it, and he said no. So after he went, we were just sitting around talking, and we were saying it would be lovely to do something that the girls would be forever remembered. So we previously made a quilt for somebody before, so we just came up with the idea of the quilt, so that's how it came about. We had a great plan first that we were going to do it, but then we decided no, it was far too much of an undertaking. So after an appeal on Midwest Radio, people from all over the country started ringing up and offering to help. So the squares went everywhere, even America, Australia, all over the world squares went to. So believe it or not, every one of the squares came back, which was remarkable in itself. Organisations all over the town and the country done it, so we had no problem getting volunteers to do it. So it's been a labour of love, really. After today now, it will go reside down the Jackie Clark Museum because it needs to be on show for the public. There's been great interest since it has been launched last Tuesday. I mean, hundreds of people have seen it already. So hopefully it'll bring people to the town, and maybe ancestors of those girls will eventually come to see it.
See
quite an impressive choir you have here today.
Yes, indeed. Well, we're from St Mary's Secondary School Choir in Ballina, and there's about 40 odd girls here today, and we're delighted to be here at this very special occasion.
And would you perform regularly at events?
Yes, well we do all our school masses, and liturgies, and carol services at school, and then oftentimes we're invited to perform to, at concerts, in town as well. But this is the first time we've done something like this.
And there's a lot of preparation now for an event like this.
Yes, we have been rehearsing since the girls came back to school, on the first day of September, and we've been rehearsing in school and after school, and then for the recording itself, we had to do a whole day of recording and shooting in Canala and Anti-Mass, in the military barracks, so it really has been a lot of preparation.
Has the choir been enjoying the whole experience?
Yes, absolutely. You can see, from the performance that they really have put their heart and soul into it, and I think they really have got the emotion across very well. And I think it has been a great, experience for them too, because a lot of them weren't aware of the orphan girls, so it has been good for them as well.
Chairman of the Committee for the Commemoration of the Irish Famine Victims, and what brings you to Ballina?
Well, there was an unveiling today of a beautiful memorial designating and remembering the girls that were taken away from all over Mayo and all over Ireland, from the workhouses and transported to Australia between the years of 1848 and 1850. And they had made a contribution in building a nation, Australia, and that's the impact that these girls have left in Australia. And our heritage now and our history is being told. The fog and the mist of these girls that was forgotten for so many years is now being told, and the people of Ballina and the people of Mayo and all over Ireland and the world, this story is now coming to light.
The Irish Prison Service got involved in this project.
Yeah, about 4.5 years ago, the Irish Prison Service and the Committee for the Commemoration of Irish Famine Victims came together to introduce the travel box. Now, their travel boxes originally were made in the workhouses themselves, and if they weren't, they were made locally, and they were generally flat and just an ordinary piece of wooden box. What we decided to do was we wanted to produce a box that would actually tell a story. They're slightly different in shape, and as a result of that, they're actually representations as against replicas. So what you have actually is every box tells a different story, and the box we have here today is simply called the Mayo Girls, and it's the 137 girls that came from 4 towns around County Mayo. And we also have a little bit about it, the actual girls themselves, and their plight inscribed on the front of it, and a nice calligraphy, which was actually performed by the prisoners themselves.
And what will happen to this box now?
I believe it's going to the Jackie Clark Museum here in Ballina, which isn't too far from where we're standing now, and it's going to be on display there along with the quilt that they made, which each section has a name of the 137 girls on it, and it's going to be displayed there for future generations to be able to look at it and see exactly what happened to these girls, because it's been long forgotten and it's time we started to remember.
What attracted you to this particular project?
Well, literally, it was actually through our interaction with the commemoration for famine victims that actually started 4 years ago. And it started with, we said we'll do one box. And literally, obviously, from there, we have now boxes all over Ireland, a lot of the museum. There's one in the UN building in New York. Michael D. Higgins has one in Orphan. So literally, wherever there is a museum to commemorate people, particularly of that era, who suffered so much and such a tragic time in our history, that literally it is so important that we actually do remember those. So we're absolutely delighted to be involved in it.
Back, Terry Riley, the chairman of the committee, invited me here to would I come on board and make some pieces that would be presented to the dignitaries. For example, the Australian ambassador, Frank Kieran's. Frank was the man that sponsored the plaque outside the door there, and Mary Kate O'Connor, the politician there. And a piece for the chairman himself. It was a bowl made from the 180-year-old wood from that's Cathedral. And I was delighted to come on board, and nice to be able to help out for such a very good. A lot of people might know the younger generations. There we heard them speak from the convent of Mercy, that they didn't know anything about the famine, and it's a thing we should never forget. For those unfortunate girls that went to Australia and were dotted all over the world, really.
Well, there's one thing for sure, the Mayo forgotten famine girls that were sent to Australia will no longer be forgotten. They've earned their place rightfully in Irish history. Thanks to the likes of Terry Riley and his committee and everybody involved with this wonderful commemoration here in the town of Famine. Now don't forget, coming up after the break, we're handing over to Manchester to join Martin Hogan, who's out and about once again with the Irish community, and I look forward to your company same time next week. So until then, slán go forward.